This podcast is sponsored by Podmetrics, the easiest way to monetize your podcast. You can visit podmetrics.co and use my code, the MTGShowPod. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. This is the LTG Show Podcast. Okay, so welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTG Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Okay, so for tonight's podcast, we're going to start our WrestleMania 38 review. So it's gonna be a two-part episode. So the first part is today. This episode is the first part, obviously night one, and then tomorrow on Monday Manila time or Tuesday, I don't know the details pa, basta Monday yon, we're going to drop the part 2 that will be recorded probably tomorrow or probably Wednesday or Thursday. Basta abangan nyo na lang yung details usual. And there's going to be a big episode on Friday. So that Friday, next Friday, kasi wala akong podcast nun, I'm going to confirm it agad-agad. Kasi Monday, kaya nga Monday ko nilagay, no? Yung episode 99 for the part 2 of WrestleMania review. So, for tonight, syempre, yung ating WrestleMania Night 1, part 1, and then Stand and Deliver will be tonight, and then yung WrestleMania SmackDown. I-discuss na lang natin later on. No? Before we start this episode, since nakailang take na ako, naiirita na ako. So, follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and whatever you like. Kung ano ba yung gusto nyong social media platforms at the MTG Show Podcast or at the MTG Show Pod. And then please follow the podcast on Spotify and on other podcast platforms. Subscribe, follow, or like whatever kung naman term na ginagamit dyan. Please follow the podcast on those podcast platforms. Of course, please support the podcast by visiting our website at linktr.ee/the MTG Show Podcast. And yung ating Patreon, syempre, visit our Patreon, patreon.com/the MTG Show Pod. Our social media platforms for myself is at AG Penera. Let's start our WrestleMania tradition with Stand and Deliver. So sige, let's start with Stand and Deliver. It's gonna be a banger. So, bago mag-main card, there's a title change on the kickoff show. So, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez wins the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Sobrang out of nowhere nito. Sinabi ko to sa predictions ng pod. Pero, ayun na eh. Sobrang out of nowhere nitong match na to. And we got this reunion between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez na hindi ko pa rin makuha why they did it. But at least, si Wendy Chu kasi, they are training her pa eh. Parang binibuild pa nila ulit si Wendy instead of being a champion. So, kung may backstabbing stuff pa na malalaman natin sa part 2, pag nireview ko yung part 2, probably may ano din yun. May podcast, may recap din yun on what happened on NXT. But, ito, isiguraduhin ko si Wendy Chu, ito na yung pang main roster. Makikita nyo to sa 24/7 picture. It's gonna be good. Magandang bagay yun. Malaking bagay si Wendy Chu on that picture. I promise you guys. Regardless, I love this story. Kaya lang, sobrang out of nowhere na bita to when the Q out of the bloom and Dakota Kai and Raquel is now challenging for the titles. And they won. Ang weird pakinggan na out of nowhere, out of the blue, they got a title shot and then yun, kinalabanan nila yung Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, and they won the tag titles just like that. Ang weird ng stuff na to, but I still well-deserved victory from Dakota and Raquel. Then, let's go to the main card. So, it's a ladder match for the NXT North American Championship. The story here is si Carmelo Hayes wants to defend the title in a match where the title was born in a ladder match at NXT. Ano nga NXT to? New York, no? New York. So, NXT New York takeover. And we got the five guys. So, ito yung new gen match na tinatawag ko. So, Carmelo Hayes, the former champion. Cameron Grimes, the new champion. Si... Sino pa ba to? Nakakalimutan ko yung names. Si Solo Sikoa, si Santos Escobar, at saka si Grayson Waller. So, the match itself is a pretty good match. And I love how the match ended. And I love how the match is wow good, man. Sobrang ganda na itong laban na to. Regardless on the outcomes, regardless on the stuff that we have right now on that matchup, sobrang ganda na itong laban na to. I think, nang una pa lang, I think I can say that this is my match of the night. But, kaya bang tumatagal yung pay-per-view? Pabago ng pabago. Mamaya i-explain ko sa ibang matches kung bakit. Pabago ng pabago yung point ko na yun. But still, sobrang ganda na tong laban na to. I love the spots right there. Yung iba nagsasabi nga na spot fest daw tong takeover o tong match na to sa Stand and Deliver. But it didn't matter to me kasi fair din naman ako mag-review ng AEW shows na puro spot fest. But this match, I think hindi ito yung nakikita nyo sa AEW na sobra-sobra yung pag-i-spot nila. No. Ito, sobrang alam mo kung ano yung pwede mong ibato from one to another eh. So that's why ito yung hindi ordinary na one spot si ganito, one spot si ganyan, one spot dito, one spot doon. No. It's just ito yung match na alam ko lahat na nagkaroon ng ng spotlight din. Ito yung isa sa mga nagustuhan ko about that. Na tong match na to is alam ko na lahat nagka-spot sa NXT. And then, yun. So, Cameron Grimes, he deserves the win. I think he is one of the most over guys in NXT right now. And that win is a well-deserved victory. That's for sure. And then, sige, let's talk about the Tony D'Angelo versus Tommaso Ciampa match. It's a short match. Basically, a farewell match for Tommaso Ciampa. I love how they ended this match. And I love how this match goes. Kasi it's more on a tribute rather than a match na sinasabi ko sa mga GC, sa mga groups na nagmukha tong libro ni Tommaso Ciampa na binubuklat niya lang on this whole match. Lahat ng histories from the past takeovers ginawa niya kay Tony. Pero si Tony nagko-compete lang as usual, as he should. Pero regardless on this match, I love Tommaso Ciampa on this. Thank you so much, Tommaso, for everything dito sa NXT. I hope na bigyan ka ng magandang run sa main roster. That's for sure. Man. And after the match, Triple H returned for the first time on TV. I don't care it's TV or pay-per-view. Basta Triple H appeared. And that's a pretty good stuff that we got from this pay-per-view. I think this is stupendous in my opinion. Not bad, not bad. Di siya masama. Pero I don't think this is a match. It's more on a memory book na binuklat ni Ciampa just for this match. The match is just a formality for me. But it's fine, it's fine. Saktuan lang. And then let's go with the NXT Tag Team title. So it's Imperium, the then champions, and then MSK, eventual the new champions, and Creed Brothers. I don't know kung anong meron at nangyari dito. I love the match. Yes, it is. But the unpredictability of this match is what I love the most. So MSK won the tag titles in a good way, in a most stupendous way in my point of view. Pero hindi ko masasabi na na dapat MSK na lang yung nanalo ng tag titles. Dapat ganito na lang yung pag-book nila. Hindi eh. Parang napangitan ako on the way they set the term eh. Kasi Creed Brothers nanalo yon fair and square. Tapos, ganito lang? Like, what the fuck? Seriously, like, what the fuck? Kami yung dapat na, kami yung entitled for the victory. Tapos, MSK yung mananalo? Like, what? Seryoso kayo? Ganito yung booking nyo sa amin. Kung ako ang Creeds, dapat magrereklamo ako. Magrereklamo ako sa booking ko kasi nakakagago. Yung binigyan mo ng consolation prize, yun pa yung nanalo. Like, that's BS. That's bullshit. Come on. You know what's up. And issue is issue. Kung ano man yung nangyayari sa MSK, I don't care. Pero, it is what it is. Plus, dagdag pa natin, RIP, rest in peace, sa Symphony number 9 for both Imperium and kay Ganta. They dropped it and there's a new song that they used. It's more on a march song pa din, pero it's not the same Symphony number 9. But I kinda hear it kasi sobrang sobrang lalim nung kanta and hindi ko rin maintindihan. Nung una, nung pinanood ko yung takeover, yung Stand and Deliver, but it is what it is. It's a good match tong tag titles. It's a good match for me. Not my favorite match, but it should be one of the best matches of the night. Alright. So, and then, we got the Fatal 4-Way Women's title match. So, it's Mandy Rose, Kaylee Ray, si Io Shirai, and si Cora Jade. So, also on this night, they introduced a new NXT Women's Championship design. They revealed it on Mandy's entrance. She's wearing a white title belt, and then the letters of N and T is kinda changed na as part of the NXT 2.0 repackage. The X remains the same, still gold. And then yung belt is kinda rainbow na with stripes, gold stripes pa din. And yung strap is white. So, it's a pretty good title para sa akin. Maganda yon. Sobrang andun pa din yung prestige ng NXT Women's title. Andun pa din yung legacy ng black and gold. Andun pa din yung design ng black and gold. Binago lang nila, nilagyan lang nila ng konting rainbow stripes and the updated NXT logo. And that's a pretty good title for me. I love the title. I love the holder, especially Mandy Rose. I love the fucking title. And the match itself is a pretty good match. There's a lot of spots that I hate here, but I think this match should be longer than what I expected. Hindi dapat to hindi to yung inaasahan ko na match from Mandy eh. Sobrang inaasahan ko, it's a short match of 10 to 15 minutes. Parang parang ang haba niya sa akin, para siyang 20-minute match up eh. But regardless, Mandy Rose winning the match was the right decision, and Cora Jade is not ready for the title yet. And Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray is NXT bound. That's for sure. And I love Mandy's gear on this one. I love the stuff, man. I fucking love her entrance as well. Okay, so we're going to take our first commercial break here on the podcast, part one. And yeah, for now, let's check the commercials. So we will be right back. Hey, if you're looking for some wrestling content here on Spotify, you can check out the MTG Show podcast, a wrestling podcast only here on Spotify. This podcast is sponsored by Podmetrics, the easiest way to monetize your podcast. You can visit podmetrics.co and use my code, the MTG Show Pod.
Hi, my name is Mark Adam and I'm the host of Quantox the Podcast, a podcast show that we can discuss different hot trending topics from love, social media, politics, and many more. May pagkulitan makipagkwentuhan lang dito sa Quantox the Podcast. See you there!
Okay, so we're back on the podcast, the MTA Show podcast. So let's continue with our NXT Stand and Deliver review. So ito, tuloy natin. So LA Knight versus Gunta. I think this is one of the least favorite matches ko. One of my least favorite matches on the card. I think, parang alam mo, I know who is gonna win. And I think it delivered, man. The match is kind of short, not the long match that I expected. But LA Knight for me is sobrang ready niya siya sa main roster. Trust me, sobrang ready na si LA Knight mag main roster, and I think that ganun na dapat yung ano niya, trato niya. Hindi na dapat siya ganun pinatagal sa NXT kasi he is the top guy in the end of the day, and he is a top guy. Sa tingin ko, ready na makipag-shuffle sa main roster. And maasahan ko siya sa SmackDown next Friday o probably sooner than later. Wala na siyang kailangan patunayan sa NXT, I think. Aside, wala naman siya kailangan ipanalo na Tyro. I think he is ready for NXT na sa main roster. Then, regardless on the match, I love the match and umaasa ako na we're gonna get Walter o Gunta versus Braun Breaker or Dolph Ziggler. I think Braun. Here's a spoiler breaking news from this week's Raw. So Braun Breaker won the NXT Championship back from Dolph Ziggler that we're going to explain right now. So, breaking news, Dolph Ziggler is your title winner for Stand and Deliver or NXT title victor for Stand and Deliver. But, on Monday Night Raw, after WrestleMania, hindi ko na kailangan i-part 2. So, Braun Breaker wins the title back and he defeated Dolph Ziggler for the NXT Championship. It's a pretty dead crowd match, man. What's wrong with this shit, man? Okay lang sa akin na nanalo si Braun. The problem here is sobrang dead ng crowd dito. Puta yan. I'm so fucking upset with the crowd here. Naiinis ako sa crowd na to, seriously. Sorry guys, sorry. And ayun eh. It is what it is. So, regardless on the Stand and Deliver match up with Braun and Dolph Ziggler, that's a pretty good match, man. Hindi mo to mapapanood sa nangyaring rematch between Braun and Dolph. But I love how they executed this match really well. This is definitely the best Dolph match since his Intercontinental Championship run, man. This is so fucking good, and hindi ito sa tingin ko yung isa sa mga matches from the WrestleMania weekend na hindi mo pwede pagsawaan at hindi mo pagsasawaan for sure for some reasons that we wanted or we're going to want or kung ano yung naasahan mo from this matchup. But regardless, I love this match and let's see what it goes. on next week's NXT kasi we're going to do podcast part 2 on Friday or Monday. Kung ano naman yun. Malalaman niyo yung mga development on next episode sa Monday kasi special time. Kasi wala tayong Friday nito. Yan lang. So basically, that's my stand and deliver review. Ito yung stand and deliver review ko. So I'm going to give my ratings na for stand and deliver kasi yung WrestleMania, buong card ng WrestleMania will be revealed on the part 2. So let's start with stand and deliver. So the Gunta LA Knight is 3 out of 5. And then the ladder match, the tag titles, and the women's title is 4 out of 5. Man, that matches is so fucking good. And then the NXT Championship, 4 out of 5. The Tony D'Angelo Ciampa, dapat tulan to kasi the match itself, but sobrang naiyak ako. On the ending, man, I get it +1. So that's 3 out of 5. The tag titles, not bad, 4 out of 5. The LA Knight Gunta is 3. Yun lang. Yun lang yung ratings ko from Stand and Deliver. So, let's talk about WrestleMania Night 1, the second part of this week's podcast. So, first thing foremost, before we go to the Night 1 of WrestleMania, I want you guys know na malapit na nga pala ang 4/4 or 4/15 kasi may payday sale on the 15th. Ay, kaso Holy Week yun. Ewan ko, may sale sila. Basta, every week naman may sale sa Shopee. Please use my links on the description below on linktr or type it on your mobile browser, podlink.co/bhx. Again, that's podlink.co/bhx. You can help and support the podcast without no extra cost to you. Okay? Let's talk about the night 1 of WrestleMania. So let's start with the SmackDown Tag Team title. So it's Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs challenging the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team title. So man, I feel bad for Rick Boogs right now. Get well. Sana makarecover ka from your injury. Man, I feel bad for Boogs talaga. Sobrang sakit nito sa akin. Boogs first WrestleMania, tapos injured ka pa. It's kinda disappointing. Sobrang disappointing ito for me. And Nakamura being pinned in the match is fine. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Kasi naalala ko, the Usos is the top tier tag team in WWE right now. And syempre nagbato din ng X. So, it's kinda understandable na hindi na magpapatuloy si Boogs on that matchup. So, no choice si Shinsuke. I hope Yao can understand. Hindi bird si Shinsuke dito. Baka may magsabi na naman, bablock ay ang unang muka. Hindi bird si Shinsuke dito, mga diputa, mga pukinginan nyo. I can say na okay lang. The match that I didn't need or I don't need itong SmackDown Tag Titles. I think it should be on the SmackDown, WrestleMania SmackDown. I think this and the next match that we're going to talk about right now. So it's Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. This is one of the matches na I think hindi naman nangangailangan ng WrestleMania treatment. I don't know. But it is what it is. Sobrang nadidismaya ako on how the match goes. Sing with this crap. Man, like what I said on last Friday sa podcast, I don't need to see this match over and over again. Hindi ko kailangan na makita pa ulit si Drew at Corbin in a ring. Man, it's so fucking sick to my stomach na maglaban pa ulit sila for the 99999999999 whatever. Putang ina. Sawang-sawa na ako on those two punks. I hope Drew will fight for the title in the future. But the title picture, we're going to talk about that on part 2. And ayun. So, it is what it is. I hope that's the end of the match. It's the end of the feud. And let's move on to The Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterios. Or the Mysterios, Dominic and Rey Mysterio. Man, I can say Logan Paul is legit. That's a confirmation from me. Logan Paul is legit, but not the best celebrity from this card. The best celebrity from this card, WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2, WrestleMania Saturday or Sunday, will be talked about on the part 2 of the podcast. So, obviously, Pat McAfee and si Jim si Johnny Knoxville na putang ina, that's a really good match. We're going to talk about that on the part 2. But regardless, I love Logan Paul's performance here. Mas gusto ko pa yung performance niya kaysa kay Dominic. I don't know why. Parang si Dominic sobrang green niya pa talaga sa ring. Hindi siya yung tao na sobrang ready na for big roles like this, like Logan Paul. Okay sana kung si The Miz lang yung kalaban niya sa WrestleMania pero hindi eh. It's motherfucking Logan Paul. And akalain mo yung mas magaling pa si Logan Paul kaysa kay, kaysa kay Dominic. Sobrang weird ng pakiramdam ko na yun. Sabi ko, shit. Hindi to magiging maganda. So, that's why, ang weird niya pakinggan. And ang weird niya ng pagkasabi ko na, fuck this. I don't need to see those punks competing each other over again. And the ending, the icing on the cake, is kinda unexpected. So, The Miz turned on Logan Paul after the match, assaults him with the skull crushing finale. And basically, that's it for the matchup from WrestleMania Saturday niya. Ayun. So, okay lang. That's basically the end of the Logan Paul run. And okay, let's move on to one of the most important matches of the night. So it's Bianca Belair challenging Becky Lynch for the for the Raw Women's Championship. Sorry, it's not NXT, it's Raw Women's Championship. First thing foremost, sana magkaroon ng some picture si Jade Cargill, Tasha Steelz, Sasha Naomi. Spoiler na yon, puta na. Spoiler pa na sabi ko. And si Bianca Belair, one picture. Puta na, please do it. Sana yung barriers, sana pagbigyan nyo to. This is one chance na magsama-sama sa isang picture yung mga current black champions in WWE. That's a plus if they did. Ayun, so Becky Bianca match. It's sobrang emotional nito. Akalain ko na aabot to sa expectation ko last year nung WrestleMania Night 1 main event. Na sabi ko, Becky Bianca is better than Sasha and Bianca from last year. But nung nirewatch ko yung WrestleMania 37, nag-otherwise ako nun. Sabi ko, mas preferred ko pa rin yung 37 over this one. Although, maganda yung story nito. Kasi redemption story to kay Bianca. Yung 37 kasi is sobrang superb kasi undefeated pa si Bianca. And yung 38 hindi na. But that's a redemption story plus dumagdag po yung paggupit ni Bianca kay Bex. So, it's a plus for me. And the match itself, ito yung sa tingin ko, unang match basically from the WrestleMania Club or the WrestleMania card na feeling ko WrestleMania talaga. So, it is what it is. I love this match. And I really love the decision. Bianca winning the title. Although, sablay yung prediction ko. Kasi nag-expect ako na retain. Kasi bibuild pa nila. But yeah, that's my thought about Becky and Bianca. I love the match. Ayun, so we're going to take another commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to start with Seth Rollins and obviously the return of Cody Rhodes. But for now, we will right back. after a short break. This podcast is sponsored by Podmetrics, the easiest way to monetize your podcast. You can visit podmetrics.co and use my code, the MTG Okay, you're listening to the MTG Show podcast. So let's continue with Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. This is definitely my favorite matchup of the night. So Seth Rollins versus Cody. So it's a TBA originally, and Cody appeared on the throne, paangat. He appeared with Kingdom as the theme song. He appeared as American Nightmare. So there's a lot of things that he adapt from his AW run of up to his WWE run, which is great in my point of view. And the match itself, I think this is definitely my match of the whole WrestleMania card. I think it is. Sobrang ganda ng back and forth nila. The second crossroads, I think definitely akala ko panalo na si Cody doon, but hindi pa pala. Sobrang sobrang nagulat ako doon sa part na yon, and then muntikan na rin makapanalo si Rollins after nun, mga 3 minutes, 5 minutes after of that. Muntikan na rin siya makapanalo doon, but no, not yet. And then he hit Rollins with straight up 3 crossroads, and ayun, he got the win for himself. I love that. And also, let me add, I love his presentation here of Cody. Itong presentation na to ni Cody is definitely better na kaysa on his AEW run. Sobrang impressive ng ginagawa ng WWE at Cody. Sana hindi lang si Cody ang makakuha ng ganitong presentation. I hope. And ayun, I hope hindi lang siya yung makakuha ng ganitong presentation. I hope the other superstars will be awarded with this kind of presentation of superstars. I love this stuff, man. And then, let's move on to SmackDown Women's title. So, it's Charlotte Flair challenged by Ronda Rousey, the Royal Rumble winner. Man, I don't know if ako lang, but I think nakaulangan ako sa match na to. I think there's a development pa na i-continue nila tong match-up or feud na to. Kasi it's kind of controversial yung nangyaring ending from their match. So, the referee was distracted, and then Charlotte hits the boot and she retains the title. So, it's kinda maganda naman yung match. Kaya lang, medyo nabitin ako on the match itself. And feeling ko masama yung naging ending nila. It's kind of bad for me. But I think to stretch up the story, I think they did this just to stretch the story further. And they did it. I think mag-continue pa tong story sa mga susunod na pay-per-view, especially WrestleMania Backlash. And ayun, I think it is what it is. Yun lang. And then, finally, the main event. It's originally a KO show, but lately, it's a Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens in a no-holds-barred match. So, yeah, this is the return of Stone Cold after 19 years, man. After 19 years of break or hiatus. Man, actually, here's a fact. This is my first time that I watch Stone Cold wrestling live kasi hindi ko na nabuo na 2003. So, this is definitely my first time watching Stone Cold wrestling in a wrestling ring regardless on what promotion, but this is definitely my first time seeing him in wrestling. But the match itself, I love the match. I love how they presented the match. I love how they hype this match. I thought na, ano lang to eh, I thought na it's just a segment na magko-close lang ng WrestleMania, but no, there's a lot of things that we are surprised on that happenings, and I really love the outcome of this. Obviously, KO loss, losses to Stone Cold. Obviously naman, yun na bago sa kwento yun. Pero the story that they delivered to us, story that they delivered to us, I think that's memorable. That's stupendous for me. Seeing Stone Cold returning in action after 19 years, tapos nag-take pa siya ng bumps, sandamakmak na bumps. That's stupendous already. Sobrang ganda na pinakita ni Corbin. Ay, ni Corbin, ni Stone Cold. And that's a pretty good that's a pretty good matchup. Basically, I love every second of Stone Cold's return, and I hope na hindi na siya makapag-compete ulit. Because I can say na is old too much. Hindi na siya yung nasa prime. And marami ring fans syempre magagalit na at nagko-compete to sunod-sunod. Sana hindi naman ganun yung pagtrato nila. And ayan, yun na nga. Basically, yun lang ang aking review for WrestleMania Night 1. Our part 2 will be released on Monday, Manila time or Philippine time. And ayun, konting dagdag lang kasi nagkaroon din ng Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale from last week's or this week's WrestleMania SmackDown. Na nanalo dito ay si Madcap Moss. I think this is the slow push for Madcap. He deserves the win. Although, natatawa pa din ako to the fact na he is siding with Corbin. So, it's kind of funny. But, yeah, he deserves the win. Baka sabihin na naman ng iba dyan. Hindi sila nagpo-push ng younger talent. Madcap Moss is a motherfucking young talent. And he deserves the win. I don't care about the gimmick. It's all about the execution. It's all about the young talent. And Madcap deserves the win for the match. Also, let me add, there's a Intercontinental Championship matchup between Ricochet and Los Lotarios, si Humberto at si Garza Angel. And ayun, that's a pretty good matchup. That's a 6 slot spots right there. I love how they presented us with this match. And I think they delivered naman. And na-deliver naman nila yung outcome for this match. So, I love these things. I think, ayun, i-rate ko na lang sila sabay-sabay sa night 2 of our WrestleMania part 2 review of this podcast. So, if gusto nyo pa marinig yung podcast na yon, pakinggan nyo to and then listen to the part 2 immediately after nung part 1. Alright? So, that's it for our WrestleMania Night 1 episode. If you want to listen to our part 2, stay tuned on Monday, Manila time for that episode. Follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and on TikTok at the MTG Show Pod. Listen to this week's episode of the podcast via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast platforms that you are using right now. Just search the MTG Show Podcast. And then, please support our link TR, everything, Lazada, Shopee, every link is now connected on our link TR. That's linktr.ee/the MTG Show Podcast, and follow the podcast on social media at the MTG Show Pod. Follow me on social media as well at AG Pinera. Again, see ya on the next part of our WrestleMania review. Our WrestleMania review part 2 will be released on Monday, Manila time. And for then, that's my episode for this week. Stay safe, stay reso. I hope you all are safe. And on May 9, 2022, wag po tayo boboto na bagnanakaw at ng sinungaling. The MTG Show Podcast out. See ya on Monday, for WrestleMania Night 2. Peace, yeah.